Hello and welcome to the first of our actual table coverage of this PTQ in Manchester for Dragon's Maze, and one of our guys, Rob Wagner, is on the right. He's 5-1 at the moment with his lingering Jund deck, and we're going to see how it shapes up against this Zoo deck.
Yeah, Pirouet, very solid player, has been for years. He's got a top 8 at Nationals on his resume. He's someone who you'd expect to be up at the top tables in a PTQ, really.
As Jack likes to remind us, this is kind of when the tournament starts for a lot of people.
Yeah, indeed. You generally, at a PTQ, you'd imagine if you're someone who's expecting top 8, you'll get a few free in inverted commas wins, but you can't expect anything like that at this stage.
According to Matt Light, sort of Rob's lost his life now, so he has to generally win and in from situations like this. It's an unusually large PTQ where even going 6-1 might not be any guarantee.
Yes, 6-1 might not make it at this point. Fortunately for Rob, Ian is on a mulligan to, I believe, 4 or 5, and he has missed his second land drop.
But that's a Loam Lion, is that?
No, it's Step Links and a Curd Ape. Unlike the Haunted Zoo deck that we featured at Liverpool, this version of Zoo's a lot more aggressive, very one-drop heavy. I believe Ian's even playing Giant Growth as well. It's just this is a complete beat down the door Zoo deck. Just very much like a Legacy Zoo deck, actually. Just 1-drops, 2-drops, and that's pretty much it for the whole deck.
And you're figuring pretty much he's gone with the Giant Growth because generally what will happen when your opponents make say a 4-5 Tarmogoyf is you'll run your guy in, your guy will die, and then you'll bolt the Tarmogoyf. That's typically, what these kind of decks always do. So it goes, well, actually I'd like to keep my guy alive and you still lose your Tarmogoyf. Yeah,
the other thing that it does, it protects the Zoo deck against the more likely sweepers of the format.
The -2s.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's running Curd Apes and Loam Lions means that he's protected from Pyroclasm to a certain extent anyway, but it also protects him against Fire Spout, which is another of the sweepers in the format.
Did you ever see like a Slag Storm or anything like that?
I don't think Slag Storm sees a huge amount of play in this format. There's not really much need for it. Fire Spout's just a lot more... it's a lot easier to cast for one, and it's... it just is a bit more of a versatile answer.
Yeah, double-coloured mana's never been popular in Modern.
Not really, unless it's a brutally game-winning style spell, like, for example, Shatterstorm out of a Jund sideboard. Yeah, but the Jund deck's mainly black anyway these days. So.
Well, he's found his second land anyway.
Yep, and he's gone for the Stomping Ground, which unfortunately wasn't around for that Curd Ape. Interesting that Rob chose to just throw his Dark Confident in front of the Curd Ape while it was a 1-1.
You've got 3 extra card advantage here, so you're just trying to stay alive. Let Ian run out of gas.
Yeah.
He's not going to come back card for card. I don't think that deck has any card advantage in it whatsoever.
Not really. It's just all aggro all the time. And in fact, Ian's going pretty much. He's going almost all in there. He just dealt 7 with that Step Links with the double landfall and the Giant Growth. He's just trying to force through as much damage as possible. Obviously hoping to top deck a couple of Tribal Flames and just hope that does enough for him. Obviously with the banning on Bloodbraid off, Jund loses a lot of its sort of ability to explode in the late game, but Rob has designed his deck to change that.
However, it does gain something in that quite a few opponents will have less sideboard cards for it.
It's certainly not the big problem that it used to be, and there's Liliana taking down the lonely Step Links. So,
and that's really what keeps a lot of decks in this format quite fair. As a deck becomes too strong, it tends to get over sideboarded against, and that sort of brings it back in line. Yeah,
the one main problem with that line was that Jund didn't really have anything that you could actually sideboard in that made it a sort of shut Jund down. Obviously cards like Blood Moon tended to be quite effective against Jund, but the problem is that Jund does run one of each basic, and the other fact is that only certain decks can play Blood Moon because it hurts them as much as it hurts the Jund player. So there wasn't really any sort of one card or one type of card that you could play that would shut Jund down. And that was mainly one of the reasons why it was so strong for some period of time. But as we can see here, the bannings happened and Jund is still doing well in PTQ, so it's not like it's killed the deck completely. And we can see here, Ian's really going for it here. He's lightning bolted Rob down, he's just thrown a Tribal Flames, not a fully powered one, he doesn't have an island there, so it was only for 4, but you know, Rob's being on 4 life against a deck with the sheer amount of burn and damage that the Zoo deck
Tribal
has.
Flames is 2 to cast.
It is, yeah.
Do you think possible he could have waited a turn?
I don't think so, not with the Liliana in play. I think eventually he's going to lose it to that Liliana. And also because he's so choked on mana, the best thing that he can do really is look to throw a Tribal Flames and then top deck another. And Rob has just simply dropped his guts on the table there, and nothing from Ian, unfortunately.
Well, we'll skip forward to game 2.